Hello and welcome to Tech Talk with me, Pranjal Sharma. Today I'm going to be in conversation with Deepak Sharma. He is the Zonal President for Greater India of Schneider Electric. Deepak, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Pranjal, for having me. I appreciate it.
So Schneider is a fairly well-established presence in India, but can we begin by getting to know what are the various businesses that you straddle across and its journey so far?
So again, thank you so much for having. So if I oversimplify, Schneider does anything and everything when it comes from grid to plug, or we call now from grid to chip, or chip to the data center. So that's what we do. And what we do and how we do is that we manage the entire energy management and automation to provide technologies to make the system, infrastructure, buildings, hotels, hospitals run. Of course, blending them with the architectures, with softwares, so that we can make them sustainable solutions. So that's what we practically do in India and globally.
But that's something which is critical, because as a country like India grows, managing energy, because India is one of the biggest consumers, I think your role becomes very critical.
So I would say energy is at the core of all our growth engines in the country, right? For all the growth parameters, growth initiatives, you need energy, right? Of course, the beautiful part is the government is now very bullish in building the energy sector through non-fossil. That's where the commitment of us as a country of building the next 500 gigawatts through non-fossil, primary solar and other resources becomes important. Now, the challenge is we talk a lot about the generation part, but the equally important challenge is on the consumption part, the use part, where every dollar or every energy saved is actually what you don't need to produce. And technologies what Schneider brings, which plays also on the supply side, but a big part of our story is how do we optimize the energy efficiency? How do we build the efficiency part in our processes and usage so that we can contribute of using less while delivering the same performance, which is efficiency. And not only from an efficiency perspective, but it also helps us to make the energy more sustainable and green so that we can deliver the sustainable goals or net zero goals of society, of our corporates and our country. So it's a beautiful combination of supply and demand. And we are very strong and very focused of helping the decarbonizing the usage so that we use what we need and we can save where we don't have to produce that. So that's what we normally look at.
But the role of technology in managing energy is becoming far deeper, especially because of the complexity as you described. Especially, for example, if we look at the fact there's multiple sources of energy, multiple types of energy, and even the consumer base is different. So, for example, even electric mobility requires energy. So, how do you see the role of Schneider in terms of products and services and software in managing this widening range of needs in energy?
So again, a very, 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 very important point here. So the way we have been using energy traditionally, that somebody generates, somebody distributes, and we were all consuming, let's say, even at least at our homes and the industries, all that will change and is already changing. With the government initiatives and the Honorable Prime Minister Surya Yojana, we are asking every home, at least the 10 million homes, to become producers, the term called prosumer. While we are consuming, we are also producing. That means what we are trying to achieve, and this is just a normal man like you and me, and we of course has all our corporates responsibility. So what's happening is the energy is not going to be now a one-way flow, but energy is going to be like on a platform where you can trade energy and use energy when you want. And whatever is surplus, you can feed back and make an earning out of it. So all this equation of the energy landscape transforming would position all of us, the generators, which is the traditional way of generating, or the non-fossil, the solar and winds today, the distribution companies who were handling not only one-way feed, but now they will have multiple feeds. They need to secure, they need to store when you need them. And then every active user is no more just a consumer, but also feeding. And this total cycle is where the smart infrastructure, smart grid, smart management with of hardware and software comes in to manage this equation. And that's very promising for a country like India, which is on the growth trajectory for the next phase of our growth
So this
trajectory.
prosumers idea is quite exciting. It's a new concept in many ways. One of the examples I've heard is that all the electric vehicles, the batteries themselves can be connected to the grid. So that if the grid needs it, the battery can actually feed it. But are there other examples of how this prosumer concept will work?
So I think the equation is very simple. The equation is you produce at the time when you have the energy available, let's say during the day, and you save it for the time when you don't have it, right? It's in a very simple, oversimplified version. Now, where do you store? You can store in batteries. Now, the fundamental is, where are those batteries? You can buy a battery pack and say, I have those battery packs in my homes or in my industrial sites. But we can also go to the extent, which is the development part, that you can also store energy in the mobility part. So today, a mobility which is working during the day on the road, in the evening, it's a stationary module, though it's a mobile module. But it can also become a source of energy storage and an energy feeder during the odd hours. So the whole equation is the generation, the ecosystem of which everybody would contribute. And it's not one individual managing the flow, but everybody contributes. And of course, then the energy is stored at multiple levels, at multiple points, to make that full ecosystem active and engaging, so that everyone contributes.
And as you rightly said, it's not a one-way flow anymore. It's going to be a two-way flow. But speaking of storage, I think there is a huge focus that Schneider has on battery storage and related systems. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So we have been doing this already for almost now 14 years. We have a company under the brand name called Luminous, where we do the home energy storage, and now been there for few hundred millions of installations already. This is already in practice, and we are very committed to grow that business in the country. But beyond that, we are also doing a lot of storage for our other businesses like data centers, right? And with all our engineering capabilities in the country, we're also working on the next chemistries. How can we speed up from pure resi to the grid storage, to the storage in the industrial units? So those type of chemistries are also under development. And of course, as the technology progresses, we will be contributing our part into that ecosystem of smart energy.
Open automation is something that you have been talking about, Deepak, and that seems like a new concept. Though automation everybody knows, but there are different elements and dimensions of it. But it looks like that we are moving from a closed automation, proprietary automation systems, to a collaborative process where a lot of players come together for offering a common solution to help both enterprise, government, and consumers. So, in your way, how is this open automation that you have pioneered? How is that playing out?
So I fully believe into this story. Actually, I use personally, and I don't want to quote it, but I personally use it's more like liberalizing the automation. It's more like, instead of open, it's more liberalizing the automation. So far, we have been holding, I would not say about, in general, people have, or the markets have been holding automation to their own networks, so that once you are in, then you stay in. And I think with all the technology changes happening around the world, you need to share the knowledge with a wider, communities, so that everybody can contribute to solve the problem. See, what are we solving is very important. We are solving that tomorrow the world is more connected, more digital, with one objective of solving the climate challenge, right? Energy efficiency and all. So here we need the contribution of everyone, because the problem is not the how, is when. The time is important, right? Speed is more important. And agility. And that's why if you want to bring everybody into the game, this is you and I and everybody, then you need to be open. And for me, the word open automation is a very strong commitment from Schneider.
Any example of that? How will it work in practical terms?
So let's take a small industrial unit, right? It's a material handling plant, right? There are packaging happening, box moving on beautiful, nice conveyors, and you're shipping them to the final stage for dispatch. If it's a closed network, you need competencies. You are married to a architecture. So and this is not about architecture. You also need then people specific, knowledgeable only for that stuff. Now, if you have an open architecture and open automation, first you're not married to a hardware or a B hardware. You have more flexibility to use what you know. That means your competencies and your skill challenges are actually a little bit more liberalized, because anyone having a basic knowledge of those advanced hardwares can be used. And then you bring a knowledge of your open softwares, which can then sit on any hardware and solve the problem. So, it helps you to be more integrated, more inclusive, and of course takes off the burden of having a specific competency to solve a plant, versus then multiple, people can now contribute to run that plant. So it actually helps you to make that efficiency.
But in this collaboration and open automation, is this just between large companies, or do you see a role for smaller, more younger startups?
I would say if you look at the MSMEs of our country, it would even help them more. So the problem is not the closed and open only. It's also the competence. The more you close it, you need a very niche and very specific particular type of competence. If you make it a little bit more generic and more open, then everybody can adopt. So for me, it's actually an accelerator where all of us, when I say all, the bigger part of the community and the bigger MSMEs can also participate to leverage all those technologies for better efficiencies and speed and agilities.
You also have a history. Schneider has a history of acquiring a lot of companies in India, and I think that's sort of helped you becoming far more multidimensional and get the best talent and technology which is relevant to India. What has been the learning so far, and how will that drive your next few years of growth?
So we have always believed in the company that first there is enough to be built, and using a wider knowledge, wider technologies together helps you to do faster instead of you doing alone. So yes, in India itself we have almost greater than 10 companies who have come and become part of group in India only. And all these technologies have helped us to bring full architectures end to end for our customers, be it smart buildings, smart residential, prosumer story, water, infrastructure, and so on and so on. So yes, it did help. I think we are only one of the few companies, what we call is more local out of the global companies. So we have solutions, we have architectures which are very close to the Indian customers, given the conditions of the country, which are very specific. So it helps, and it has helped a lot. Today, with our almost 38,000 plus employees in our 31 factories, this has only helped us to expand and serve the country development. Now, moving future, we want to believe that the entire challenge of this technology shift and digitization cannot be done alone. So we are looking for partnerships. We do partnerships both for development and for bringing them to the market. Actually, big part of our business is through our partners. And we are also accelerating our investments in startups, so we can also participate and contribute in the developing on the next phase of technology shift. And again, the story of Schneider is not doing everything alone, but using the wider network of our ecosystem, and that's what we are strongly committed as we grow the company and as our contribution to the growth of the country.
But you have many sectors, so between automation, open automation and energy, but there's water, there's agriculture, smart grids. As a person who's leading the next phase of growth for Schneider, what would be your priorities, Deepak? Where do you see Schneider being able to contribute the most to India's growth needs?
So again, I'll start probably from the few points we already discussed, that our country is on a growth trajectory. We have just become the fourth biggest economy in the world, on a route to become number 3. That means all those growth would need energy. Fundamental point 1.
So growth without carbonization becomes a
growth with decarbonizing is the solution we want to work on. To do that, our whole story is focused on a big part of our story is focused on the demand side. And demand decarbonizing, which is with smart buildings, smart cities, smart homes, smart water, smart industries. So all those infrastructure which needs energy, if we can electrify and digitize them together, that's the whole story of Schneider. So all the growth engine of the country is very close to what we do, and we want to contribute our participation of energizing the country while respecting the commitment of decarbonizing it.
In terms of new manufacturing, you have committed a lot to it, but there's also the role of AI in managing energy and automation. Some of these technologies are global, but the application is local. What is it that makes the Indian market unique? Do you also see some innovation which is occurring in India, which could perhaps be taken to other parts of the world? Because Schneider, of course, is a global company.
So I have a very nice story, which every time I remind of itself, it brings tears. The AI story is not only for us, the privileged one in the big cities. We recently did a climate smart village in a district close to Ranchi, in Gumla, where a microgrid embedded with the AI actually is helping a hamlet of 80 homes who are in the middle of nowhere, with, of course, electricity, which sometimes is not available all the 24 hours. And this microgrid, which runs with Schneider technologies and AI, runs their pumps, powers their home, saves energy during the day when it is not needed. But they have built a beautiful industrial unit where the women, operated by women, and these women can now actually do basic things where you used to spend massive time. So we are now creating, removing husk from the wheat. The 3 hours work is now done in 2 seconds. We are extracting oil from mustard. They have an electric driven 3-wheeler. So at the end of the day, once they pack the bottles or package, they bring it to the city to sell. So these technologies are not only for all the privileged and the urbanized cities, but actually going to change. And this is done through AI, because the software decides when is the right time to store, when is the right time to transfer the energy to the pump, when is the right time to feed the industry. All this is digitized, right? So AI applications are already going to the level where everybody is not so privileged. Beyond that, we are very committed in developing those AI applications. Actually, India is one of the biggest hubs for the group for AI development for the group for these technologies. Actually, Schneider India, which is one of the 4 global hubs for the group, has almost 6,000 plus digital and R&D engineers only working for the group. We do export from India to 30 countries, hardware and software, but we're also a very strong backbone of the group of providing these digital architectures or digital solutions for solving worldwide customer problems.
So for Schneider, as globally, is India becoming an even more important not just a market, but also a creator of technology and solutions?
I would actually start that Schneider India is the biggest employee base of the group already. And these employees like me, are not only serving country, but we're also the biggest exporter of talents to the group. Right. So, we are, of course, producing technologies, but we're also, building talents who go to the group and serve multiple applications or domains in the worldwide markets or worldwide industries for Schneider. Yes, and India is a very strong backbone for the group on developing those technologies, both digitally and automation. Our open automation backbone or a big development center is also in India. So yes, India contributes a lot to the global development, both from a people front and technology front.
So Deepak, you've been talking about talent. You said that Schneider India is contributing to talent globally. Within the country, where do you see the whole piece of reskilling? Because it is also creating a concern that the skill needs are changing so fast that many professionals are not being able to cope with that change. How is Schneider Electric looking at it in India?
Again, I think one of the most critical points for all of us to work on together, I think we can all solve the technology, but if we don't have the right skill, deployers, the challenge remains on PowerPoint. So what we do from our big contribution is, we have built almost 580 vocational training centers, where we have trained almost 300,000 plus youth who could not get the privilege of entering the right college or institutes, of training them on automation, on electrification, so that they can go and start working on real use case, right? So these are electrician trainings, and they become usable from day one, because sometimes we get kids out of colleges where we still have to spend 3 to 6 months more to bring them to the reality of what the industrial world looks like. So skill development is going to be the biggest challenge. We were very honored to have our skill minister visiting us in one of our campus recently, to see how can we contribute in digitizing and improving the ITIs, the government mission. We have already contributed, and signing a couple of MOUs where we can help to uplift the infrastructure on ITIs. So for me, as we are all passionate about technology usage and expansion with decarbonizing, if there is one area which we should be really worried is going to be the right skill of people, both from users and deployer. And I think people like commitments we have made, we want to accelerate, and happy to participate, and even more partnership. How can we deploy this vocational trainings upliftment in the country?
On smart manufacturing, you have a lot of interesting initiatives. You have a lighthouse project here. How do you see that evolving in the next few years?
So we have 31 manufacturing units. There are 3 under build. Why we digitized and made this factory, the Hyderabad factory, if you're talking about, because we have to come and show to the world a real use case. And the best way is to show, we use our own food, we eat our own food. The Hyderabad factory, which was recognized as the most lighthouse factory a few years ago, and recently a sustainable lighthouse factory by World Economic Forum in Davos. So that's a very strong signature of showing how a real use case works in smart manufacturing.
And therefore, you can also do it for other companies.
Then we invite customers to show them a real use case, so that we can copy paste and bring that confidence that this can help you solve the both growth, digitization, and decarbonization challenge together.
Next 5 years, where do you see Schneider Electric in India in terms of new initiatives? You've talked about taking energy, and I think that's a very impressive statement, that we talk about financial inclusion, but what you're enabling is it's energy inclusion, where energy reaches every single citizen of the country and consumer in every part of the nation, and of course with the new energy mix. Do you see this accelerating? Do you see some new initiatives that you would like to launch to accelerate the process? Are there some new ideas that you'd like to share with us?
So a lot of questions in one question, but I would say to the point that we all believe in the India growth story, and to the targets given from the becoming number 3 in the world soon. So we all believe that would need acceleration of the technologies, digitization of the technologies, changing the way we do energy usage today. And I also believe a big part of it will be coming by bringing everyone together as one, as participating in building that phase of the country. Our role is to connect the dots of the user, the producers, by bringing smart technologies which are digitized, and everything we do with the commitment of decarbonizing while we build the energy. So I would only say that the next not only 5 years, but a lot of years in this country are very promising, and we're very committed to do our part, which is to energize, automize, and decarbonize in the sector of what we do for the country development.
Deepak, that's very well said. And on that point, I'd like to thank you for sharing these ideas with us. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Pranjal, for having me. I appreciate all the time.